You woke up this morning and thought of your problems. Maybe you have 9 of them. A health issue, a work problem, a family struggle, a financial worry, a relationship difficulty. You can count them. You can list them. You can hold them in your mind. And because you can count them, they feel real. They feel substantial. They feel overwhelming. But here is something the Quran tells us. If you try to count the blessings of Allah, you will never be able to count them all. Billions, trillions, infinite, uncountable. But you know what is interesting? You can count your problems on your fingertips. So you are focusing on 9 things and ignoring a billion things. And because of that choice, your entire life feels dark. In this video, we are going to explore what happens when you flip this, when you start counting the blessings again. Because the moment you do, everything changes. Your darkness becomes light. Think about this carefully. What challenges do you have? Go ahead, count them. You can say, I have this problem, this health matter, this issue at home, this issue at work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Done. You can count them. You can hold them in your mind. You can recite them to others. But now count your blessings. Go ahead, try. You have the ability to hear, the ability to see, the ability to walk, the ability to think, the ability to speak. You have a body, a heart, lungs, a brain, limbs, organs, all working together. You have the ability to taste, to smell, to feel, to remember, to dream. You have been given time. You have been given another day, another breath, another heartbeat. And we are only starting. We have not even counted your family, your home, your food, your water. We have not counted your faith, your mind, your conscience, your ability to learn. We have not counted the beauty around you, the people who love you, the opportunities available to you. We have not counted the mercy of Allah that protects you every single day from harms you cannot see. You cannot count them. They are infinite, absolutely infinite. Yet you spend your time focused on the 9 things you can count. And because you can count them, they feel substantial. They feel real. They feel like the whole story, but they are not. They are 9 grains of sand on a beach with billions of grains. Your problem is not that you have problems. Your problem is that you have stopped counting your blessings. Imagine this. Your entire body is healthy. Everything is working. Every organ, every system, every cell. But a mosquito bites you on your nose. Just one bite. And now, that bite is all you think about. It is embarrassing. Everyone sees it. You have to scratch it constantly. You cannot focus on anything else. Why? Because that one bite is visible. It is noticeable. It is annoying. So you forget about your entire healthy body. You forget about the fact that billions of cells are functioning perfectly. You forget that you can breathe, you can move, you can think, you can feel. All you focus on is the mosquito bite. This is what we do with our lives. We have billions of blessings and we focus on the one mosquito bite. We have perfect health and we focus on one ache. We have a loving family and we focus on one argument. We have a job and we focus on one difficult co-worker. We have food and we focus on one meal we cannot afford. We have time and we focus on one deadline. We have opportunity and we focus on one closed door. The mosquito bite is real, but it is not the whole story. It is not even close to the whole story. When you zoom out, when you stop staring at the bite and start looking at the entire healthy body, everything changes. Your entire perspective shifts. The bite is still there, but it is no longer the dominant thing. It is a small irritation on an otherwise magnificent form. This is what perspective does. This is what counting blessings does. It does not erase your problems, but it puts them in their proper place. Small, temporary, manageable. You think hardship is only destructive, only negative, only something to escape. But hardship is actually building you, making you stronger, creating character inside you. A person from a place where there is no electricity because it keeps going out, they do not panic. They have learned to make plans, to adapt, to continue functioning despite the disruption. A person where there is no water, they do not complain endlessly. They have learned to conserve, to be resourceful. A person where jobs are scarce, they do not sit idle. They have learned to create, to problem solve, to persist. The hardship has made them streetwise, able, resourceful, strong. But a person in comfort, with electricity always on, with water always flowing, with jobs always available, if the electricity goes out for 1 hour, they panic. They feel helpless. They do not know what to do. The comfort has made them fragile, dependent, weak. So which person is actually blessed? The one with the hardship who has learned resilience, or the one with comfort who has learned dependence? The Quran tells us something profound. Allah created us to test us. The tests are not punishment. The tests are the curriculum of growth. Every challenge is a classroom. Every difficulty is a lesson. Every hardship is a tool of transformation. And while you are going through it, you cannot see it. You only see the pain. But one day you will look back and see. You will see how you grew, how you changed, how you became someone stronger. The hardship was not the enemy. The hardship was the teacher. You might think, my life is hard, therefore Allah has abandoned me. But look at the Prophet, the man Allah loved most out of all creation. And his life was filled with struggle. His children died, one after another. Was he not loved by Allah? He was loved more than you and I, more than anyone and everyone. People mocked him. They called him a sorcerer. They called him mad. They called him a charlatan. They threw stones at him. They rejected him. They tried to kill him. Was he not loved by Allah? He was the most beloved of all creation. So if hardship is a sign of abandonment, then why was the most beloved facing the most hardship? Because hardship is not abandonment. Hardship is proof of love. When Allah loves you, He tests you. When Allah cherishes you, He refines you. A mother does not let her child sleep on a bed of nails, but she does require them to go to school. She requires them to study difficult subjects. She requires them to face challenges, not to hurt them, but to build them, to prepare them, to make them capable. Allah is not a cruel mother, but He is a loving one. And love sometimes means allowing difficulty. If your life is hard, it might be because you are beloved to Allah. If you are being tested, it might be because Allah sees potential worth purifying. If you are struggling, it might be because Allah is preparing you for something magnificent. The Prophet walked the hardest road, and that road led to immortal legacy, to unchanging impact, to eternal love. Your hard road might be leading somewhere too. You just cannot see it yet. Someone might tell you that you are useless, that you do not have potential, that you cannot succeed. Never believe them, because they are wrong. You are not useless. You are amazing. You are unique. You are beloved to Allah. Allah did not create you for nothing. Allah created you for something, a specific purpose, a specific role. You might not know what it is yet, but it exists. It is written. It is waiting. When you were a baby, if someone said, you will never grow beyond this, you will never be 2 years old, would time listen to that statement? No, time would defy it. By the will of Allah, you would grow. And you did. You grew and you became who you are today. In the same way, your future is not determined by what people say. It is determined by what Allah has written. So when someone tells you that you are useless, smile, because they have no power over your destiny. But do not do to others what others have done to you. Do not tell anyone they are useless, especially not your children when they are 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old. Do not tell them they are slow, they are stupid, they will never succeed. Instead, embrace them, kiss them, hug them, tell them you are amazing, you are intelligent, you are capable. The Prophet kissed his grandchildren. Someone criticized him saying a man should not be tender with children. The Prophet looked at him and said, whoever shows no mercy will not be shown mercy. Mercy, that is what builds a person. That is what creates confidence. That is what transforms a child. When a child does something wrong, they are not being intentionally bad. They are learning, they are growing. Correct them, but correct them with mercy, with wisdom, with empowerment, not with shame, not with cruelty, not with words that break them, because words create identity. If you keep telling someone they are useless, they will start to believe it. But if you keep telling someone they are capable, they will start to believe that too. Which world do you want to create? The world where people believe in themselves, or the world where people believe they are useless? You have the power with your words, with your actions, with your presence. Use that power wisely. You are looking at someone else's journey. They have something you do not have. So you think, I should have that too. I should be where they are. I should be moving at their speed. And because you are not, you feel like you are falling behind, like you are failing. But here is the truth. Their pace is not your pace. Their journey is not your journey. They might have started earlier. They might have more resources. They might have different circumstances. You cannot compare apples to oranges. You cannot compare your beginning to someone else's middle. What matters is that you are moving, that you are making progress, that every day is better than the day before. The Prophet said something beautiful. Let every day that passes be better than the previous day. Not better than someone else's day, better than your own yesterday. This is the measure of success. Not speed, but direction. Not comparison, but improvement. You might be moving slowly, but if you are moving in the right direction, you are succeeding. You might be behind others, but if you are ahead of where you were, you are growing. Move at your pace, no faster, no slower, just your pace. Because the moment you start comparing, you lose. The moment you stop measuring against your own progress and start measuring against someone else's, you have already failed. Because you cannot win a race when the finish line keeps moving. Move at your pace. For as long as you are moving in the right direction, you are well within the mercy of Allah. You work. You earn, you pay bills, you pay fees, you provide for your family. This is good, this is necessary, but is it enough? The Quran speaks of a person who will achieve ease in this world and success in the next. Do you know who this person is? The one who gives, the one who spends on others. Why? Because giving creates something in your heart. It makes you selfless instead of selfish. It makes you think about others. It makes you think about the future beyond your own life. When you give, you build something that lasts longer than you. A sadaqah jariyah, a perpetual charity, a school that will educate children long after you are gone, a well that will provide water long after you have drunk from it, a act of kindness that will inspire someone to do something good, which inspires someone else, which changes the world. And the reward for that does not stop when you stop breathing. The Prophet said, when a person dies, their deeds end, except in 3 cases. A perpetual charity, a knowledge that benefits people, and a righteous child who makes dua for them. So your life does not have to end when your life ends. Your impact can continue, but it only continues if you build for the future, if you think beyond yourself. You work to build a house, your children will live in it. That is thinking beyond yourself. But while you are building your worldly house, do not forget your eternal house. Build it with character, with kindness, with integrity, with concern for others. Because that house will last forever and you will live in it forever. The Prophet said something profound. Allah will help a servant as long as that servant helps another. While you are busy helping someone, Allah is helping you. This is the deal. This is the exchange. When you struggle, help someone else who is struggling in a similar way. When you are in pain, ease someone else's pain. When you are in darkness, light someone else's way. This is not about being noble or good. This is about unlocking divine support. Allah has tied His help to your help, His mercy to your mercy, His support to your support. You want the help of Allah? Help someone else. You want the support of Allah? Support someone else. This is the formula. This is how you change your situation. A man asked the Prophet, I am struggling. Will Allah help me? The Prophet asked, who are you helping? The man looked confused. The Prophet said, that is your answer. You are struggling because you are only thinking about yourself, but Allah helps those who think about others. A Bedouin man entered the mosque not knowing any better and urinated in the corner. The companions became so angry. They yelled, they screamed, they tried to stop him. But the Prophet told them, leave him, let him finish. Then he called for water. When the Bedouin finished, the Prophet did not scold him in public. He waited until the companions were busy getting water. Then he approached the man privately. He said, this is the house of Allah. It is for prayer. It is for remembrance. It is not for this. The Bedouin understood immediately, not from being shamed, but from being shown, not from being punished, but from being taught. This is how you empower someone. This is how you change someone, not through anger, through wisdom, not through public shaming, through private instruction, not through cruelty, through kindness. The Bedouin did not think, I am useless, I did not know any better. Instead, he thought, wow, that man taught me with such mercy, and he wanted to be better because he had been treated with dignity. This is the lesson. When you see someone doing wrong, do not expose them publicly. Do not call them names. Do not mock them. Instead, guide them privately, because shame breaks people, but mercy builds them. You are not useless. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are beloved to Allah. Your struggles are not signs of abandonment. They are signs of refinement. Your problems are real, but they are small compared to your blessings. Count your blessings, not your problems. Notice the infinite, not the finite. Move at your own pace. Build for the hereafter. Help others to unlock help for yourself, and never tell anyone they are useless, especially not yourself. Oh Allah, help us see our blessings instead of our problems. Help us count the infinite instead of the finite. Help us move at our own pace with confidence. Help us build for the hereafter while living in this world. Help us help others so you can help us. Help us be merciful to ourselves and to others. Help us never give up. And help us understand that your mercy encompasses everything. That we are always within it. Ameen. Today, count your blessings. Just 10. Not all of them, just 10. You have a body. You have a mind. You have time. You have breath. You have opportunity. You have people who love you. You have faith. You have hope. You have the mercy of Allah. You have another day to try again. Write them down. Look at them and realize my 9 problems are nothing compared to my billions of blessings. Now move forward at your pace, in your direction, with your purpose, because you are not useless, you are amazing. And the mercy of Allah encompasses you.